So Bob's welding on the first of the pads onto the boiler of Welsh Pony, which will attach the boiler to the frames. It's a relatively unconventional loco in that the firebox effectively forms part of the frame structure. So the bracket he's welding on now will have an extension coming forward this way as well, and that will be bolted to the back of the frames, then run forward to the cylinders. Yeah, the boiler's now approaching completion. You can see all the small tubes are in. They've been expanded in position in the tube plates at each end. So they're all done. The only bits we're really waiting for now are the some bronze washout plugs, which will be fitted into various holes around the boiler like that one there. Then the boiler will be just about ready then for a hydraulic test, which is the next stage in the job. Once we've got a hydraulic test, basically we can then assemble the rest of the loco round it, and we'll probably only steam test it when the loco's complete. It would be possible to do a steam test with the boiler out of the frames, if you like, but we don't necessarily need to do that. We'll decide nearer the time whether that's going to be useful for us or not. Okay, so you see the tender's also approaching completion. It's now on its wheels, and the springs and axle boxes are all done. And also we started building the sort of bunker area within the tender. There's going to be a sloping floor that goes in there, covering that vacuum reservoir at the back. There's no water in this tender. Traditionally the England engines didn't carry water in their tenders, so we're following that. Well, we're basically making this as close to an original design as we can, given the information we've got available. So there's plenty of water capacity in the saddle tank of the loco, so this is purely a coal tender. Coal space is there at the back, and then a little door here for shoveling from. And then on the right here there'll be some, I think we'll have some toolboxes. We've got a little space here on the left to put fire irons and all the bits and pieces. The other thing about this tender design is that it's there's room for some footplate passengers in the front of the tender, which on F&WHR engines is quite good, because often certainly on the Fellies the cabs are very cramped, and it's very difficult for people to have a look. Yeah, there's been some work going on the motion of Welsh Pony. You see we've got new slide bar. The bottom one, sorry, the top one is in position here. There's another one. It's off at the moment down here. An original crosshead that we've reused. We've got new crosshead slippers, which are these parts here. You can see on this one, it's a cast iron slipper with a white metal lining cast on the rubbing faces, and you can see the oil way cut into the white metal, which distributes the oil over the rubbing surface, because obviously this whole thing is moving backwards and forwards within the slide bars. And obviously piston rod here, that's a new piston rod, and the gland stuffer here, which will push in like that and compress the gland packing material, which is what makes the seal around the piston rod in the cylinder. You can see on this side, this This is much more complete. It's got the slippers top and bottom, and the piston rod fits into the crosshead here there's a tapered portion in here, and then this cotter locks the two together. So that's rather important. This nut here is if you need to pull the piston rod out of the crosshead, you tighten up the nut and that extracts one from the other. Okay, so you're looking up the cylinder bore here. Obviously they're new cylinder castings, as we've discussed before. They're machined to the size that Welsh Pony was built with, so it'll have the same power output as the original. Pistons here, you can see the end of the piston rod. The piston rod is screwed into the piston, and this end here is riveted over as the original was to finally lock it in position, because obviously we don't want the piston loosening on the rod. Yeah, is the driving wheel set from Welsh Pony. You can see now we've got new crank pins in, and the collars that keep the rods on. These are new pins that we've made here, and they've been hardened by nitriding, so they'll have a nice long life, and they've been fitted by shrink fitting, so the pins are machined where they fit in the wheel, with the pin is machined slightly larger than the hole in the wheel, and then a man comes in with liquid nitrogen and we freeze the pins, which shrinks them enough so that they can be inserted into the hole, and as they warm up they grip inside the wheel, which is what holds them in position. Traditionally they probably would have been pressed in with a big hydraulic press, but there's obviously a little bit of a danger in that, using that process of either bending the pin or cracking the wheel centre. So shrink fitting is a relatively simple and risk-free process, and when the man came in to do them, he was able to do the pins for Garrett 130, for the fairly wheel sets for the Earl of Merioneth, which is having new crank pins as well, and these at the same time. So here we've got the new axle boxes for Welsh Pony. We found the old axle boxes were in rather poor condition, and they wouldn't have worked very well. So we've made a pattern copying the originals, and had new bronze axle boxes cast, and as you can see also in this area here where the journal runs, there's we've cast white metal into a pocket in the bronze, and then that's been machined. These have been machined now to finally fit on the axles. So, and these inserts will sit in the top there. There's a bit more machining to be done, and then the spring load will bear down on top of the axle box here. Here we've got all the loco leaf springs. They're the ones that came off the engine, and we've stripped them down by stripping these buckles apart, examining all the leaves and greasing them, and then we've put them back together again, and actually they've been pretty good condition. So normally you might expect a loco needing an overhaul to need new springs, but we found these are quite good, and it may be that they were overhauled back in the 1930s, not too long before the loco was withdrawn maybe. So here we've got some of the valve gear. These are the expansion links. You can see there's a straight slot in the link, because it's Allen straight link motion on the England engines. These are all original parts. Again, we've found they were in quite reasonable order, so they've had a bit of had some new pins made and tidied up, but otherwise they'll be able to be reused on the loco.